Greetings and welcome to SmartWatch Ticks. We're a YouTube channel on the web dedicated to smartwatches and available at smartwatchticks.com. We're doing an unboxing today from DT No.1 Deja Vu. You remember when I just finished doing the DT28 with a prototype watch that we got? And then I had to do a follow-up video when the production units just started coming out. And if you haven't seen that one, you might want to take a look. Well, here we are again. I thought this was going to be a simple, quick review of a silly little fitness band. But folks, this is really, really different. I'm totally confused. Wait till you see. What are we looking at? From the literature, and I don't even have a buying source for you. I've pieced together a little bit here and there to show you the DT58 now, not the 28, the 58 is a smart bracelet that does all kind of biometrics and stuff, like what you see here on the spec sheet. We've got, of course, heart rate. We've also got blood pressure and blood oxygen. And now we've got heart rate variability and all kinds of things dealing with that. Wait till you see. It's amazing. This for 20 bucks, $18, I don't know. This is worth it just to play with. Accuracy, no idea. What it's measuring, no idea. But we're also getting UV and air pressure and weather and all that. But it's not coming from the device, as I understand it. If you're tethered to your phone location is on, and it determines what city you're in. It'll pull that kind of stuff from a weather report for you and give you altitude and air pressure and all those kind of things. You got all these different languages supported. You repeat that. Okay, I'm just looking at everything we pulled together. Got heart rate sensors in it. No GPS. It's IP68 waterproof, which is great. You can get this thing wet. 135 by 240. It's a nice large screen watch, and that's what they're promoting it as. A really big, beautiful color screen with lots of interesting watch face designs available as well. TPU band, lithium battery, good for 20 days standby and about a week of use and so forth. Let's dive into it and take a look. I have been in here before, but I put it all back so we can do the official unboxing. Got its own little plastic container. It was real easy to put back, can't you tell? Uh-oh, fell right out. Here's the watch. I got the one in blue. You notice there's no charger in here because we'll pull the edge of the bands off to get to the charger. It's a very rectangular with rectangular display and rectangular buttons and plates on the back and diodes on the back. Ooh, deja vu. DT28, same kind of thing. We've got these electrode plates and an electrode button on the front as opposed to just touching the screen for your ECG type data. Let's look into that. Here's the book, literally the book on this one. It's a detailed manual, and sometimes I just courtesy go through this, but I'm telling you, I think this manual might be something that we're both going to want to sit and read. There you go. They got actual color pictures showing you can pop the band off and just plug the end of the unit into your computer or wherever, USB charger. I love that kind of design. It just like frees you up to go anywhere with the device and charge it. Having to carry along a dongle, a clamp, a clip, a wire, all of that's just kind of frustrating. But when it's all self-contained, that's a definite benefit. So happy with that already. Here we go with the QR code that you're going to want to scan to get the Tethering app, or of course you can just go to the show notes down below this video and click on the link that'll take you to the Play Store and you can download it directly. We're using the HPlus app with this one, not the DT No.1 app as we saw in the DT28, but this DT58 is using HPlus, which is more robust, I think. It's been around a lot longer. It's had a lot more time to get seasoned. The No.1 app is pretty much brand new. A lot of beta testing going on that DT28. There's warranty information, and now we're into different languages. So let's let's give this thing a shot. First, I want to show you. We just kind of yank it off. This end does not have it. It's opposite the button. So to charge it, and you just push it back on, you bend and wiggle and pull, and eventually it comes off, and you got the 2 charging ports there to plug in and charge, which I'm going to do, and then we'll turn this thing on. Well, I've put it back together again, and to turn it on, you just press the button in the front, which is actually an electrode, and boom, it comes right back up into one of the installed watch screens. This is one I've already installed from the app. Sorry, it's so bright it's washed out. That's actually green right there. I'm going to adjust the brightness for you. There, that's better. It boots up in full brightness, so I had to go deep into it. And I'll show you where you do that. But just to keep things moving, we've got it already adjusted. So this is an installable face, transferable from the app. We're going to be covering the app and the watch a lot together. But let me show you that when you press and hold the main button, you can switch to the stock app. This is what comes in, is always there. And then you have the ability to install one other watch face from a portfolio of about 11 or 12 of them. But that's it. Now, when you go over here, you get your step count, calories burned, and distance traveled, and it times out fairly quickly here. And what % of your daily goals you have reached. Nothing else deeper on this particular screen, but when you go to this one on detection, we press and hold, and we get into where the green diode comes on, and using PPG now, it will calculate your heart rate in beats per minute, and it's going to stay on this screen, which is kind of nice. Yeah, it'll shut off, it won't stay lit up, but it stays on the screen. So after you've calculated your heart rate, if you have it on your arm and you just want to check your heart rate periodically, like right there, you just tap the button and it comes right back to that screen. Press and hold again, it's going to switch you from heart rate to blood pressure. Again, using the green diode, PPG, in the back, you notice I'm not touching the electrode or anything. It comes up with an estimate of your blood pressure. Really check this against your standard blood pressure because not sure how accurate this is. Definitely you need to check for yourself on that one, especially related to blood pressure. Hit it again, press and hold again, and it takes us to last night's sleep time. Total, I love this, depth, general, and sober. I didn't drink last night, folks. I had sober sleep. I really don't know what that means. If that's supposed to be REM or restlessness or what. But you have deep and general sleep divisions, and we'll take a look at that in the app in just a minute. When you get to the return screen, you have to press and hold to get back. Otherwise, it loops at this level. Coming over here now, we're going into HRV. I'm going to talk about that extensively in a little while. We'll be back. Then you get to breath. This is breathing exercises. Press and hold, and it begins this process, asks you to calm down and take a breath. It vibrates on the inhale and the exhale guide. You can either stare at the center and breathe in. It vibrates and exhale. And it'll continue doing this over and over, and I'm pretty sure it starts to slow down over time, or at least I do, because when I do it, it really feels good. And you don't have to look at it. The nice thing is, because it's vibrating, it'll be doing it automatically. And folks, if you want to take the bands off and stick this in your pocket and go into the breathing mode, you can be sitting at one of those boring meetings at work and feel the vibration and use it as a guide to inhale and exhale. Heck, you can stick it in your shoe and feel it. Honestly, this is a really nice feature, the breath feature. I really like this. I don't know how long it goes because I haven't had patience. Oh, it's so bad. I'm so bad. One of these days I will really sit down and be mindful, but not today. Information is when you're tethered to your app and you set up your push notifications. If you have any that come to the watch, they'll be right here. If you don't, you press and hold and nothing happens, okay? But this is the page where you get your your information. Sports mode now. This is where you press and hold to get into a variety of different sports that you can activate. And as with all of them, you're going to have a running timer. You're going to have, in this case now, heart rate and calories burned. In some of them, you're going to have distance traveled because it kicks in the pedometer as well. But a lot of these different sports, it's just calculating your calories based on time. Here you go where you have step count, calories, and heart rate on those. Again, to get out of it, you got to go to the arrow. Oh, well, it popped me out already. Okay. Oh, it really wants me to breathe, doesn't it? That's still going on. That's interesting. Okay. Press and hold to get out. Are we done? Are we done? No! I'm stuck in an endless world of breathing. Well, that was scary. It felt like I was in a Stephen King novel. I just pressed and held it until I choked the little sucker, and I got out of it finally. Dang, that's, I don't know. Anyway, all right, where were we? Information, sports mode, and we got out of sports to around. Now, let me tell you about around. When you press and hold here, that was scary. I get my altitude, 105 meters, which is, I guess, about right where I'm at, about 300-ish feet. However, and this comes from being tethered to the app, mind you. There's no barometric pressure reader inside of here or weather direct access or anything. You need to be tethered to the phone in order to get this. However, this is a what you call a prototype, and it's not totally working because when I go over here to air pressure, it says it's not connected to the app. Your UV index and your weather are not reporting in, and I've done everything under the sun to try to get it to connect properly with the HPlus app, and unsuccessful so far. So hopefully that little glitch in the firmware here will be worked out. You get to tools, and you press and hold. Now we get into a place where you can turn on or off, and press and... no! Well, hi everybody, I'm back. I decided I should just breathe. So I sat with it, and I breathed, and it finally stopped. And so did I. Not, just kidding. I'm back to tools now. Press and hold again, and I turn on vibration, which vibrates every time I touch the button, drives me absolutely nuts. Here's the brightness. And if I press again, it gets brighter, and press again, and it gets to the brightness that it boots up with, which is really, really bright for indoor use. It's okay for outdoor use, so I'm going to keep it in the softer mode for here. You can restore the watch, and you can turn the power off. And there's your version number. Look for the 8E7A when you are tethering. Or at least that's my serial number. Maybe yours will be different. Press and return, out of tools, and back to watch faces, press and hold, and I can switch to the stock generic watch face. Now, everything else on here, I got to cover on the app, with the exception. And this is the whole reason I'm reviewing this thing, for this heart rate variability section, HRV, that comes in with the EKG for the FYOU to TRY and see if it will WORK. So we're going to go over to HRV, heart rate variability. Two diodes, or two plates on the back, remember? Oh, that's me licking my finger, making sure I'm wet, licking it again, making sure it's wet when I touch here. You want to have skin contact with this puppy. Press and hold HRV, and watch this. Comes into this little screen here. It says I got to touch this thing, and I will. And the crazy thing is, this is 60 seconds. Now, honestly, I think it's so cool. It's got the breathing exercise thing going as well. Now, there's no vibration, but if you stare at that circle and you synchronize your breath and you slow down and you stay still, there's a good chance that you might actually get a good reading. If you don't, you just wasted 60 seconds of your life. Yeah, you don't want to waste too many of those. You don't have an infinite supply. So make every minute count, right? So the chart you see at the bottom is totally meaningless. That's just an icon-driven GIF, I guess. Again, the pulsing circle is great for breathing, and it does give you a second countdown at the bottom, which I'm wasting away 60 seconds chatting endlessly so that I can show you what's really, really cool, the end results. And there they are. Oh my gosh. Heart rate variability data. Is that in focus? Can you see it? If I tap it again, I get this. Yeah. What the heck? What the heck? All right. Here's the heck. Here's the heck of what the heck. This is straight from No.1. I asked them, what the heck? And we got some really great support over there. They came back with me, to me, with some stuff. They suggested we go to Wikipedia and just search under heart rate variability to get some information. And this is really good, this thing called Hrv Basics. It's a report by a company that has a ring that you wear on your finger to do all the kind of things we're doing with the watch. We're going to hopefully talk about that again later, and we're going to go into much more detail in a separate video on heart rate variability. Just for this video, though, to introduce you to it, from that document, the rooster's outside, No.1, and we're going to learn a little bit about this stuff. Broken down on the watch, the information that we see here, and you can get back to it if you press and then press again. You see all those categories. You got them there? You see the numbers. This is how it breaks down. The first one is your beats per minute, your heart rate, now derived from the ECG, not the pulsing green diode, but the electrical signal that you generated from the two plates running up your arm, through your heart, back down your other arm, and into that plate. That's how it worked. You got a IBI, the Index of Biological Integrity. Man, I wish I had some of that when I was a teenager. It only comes with age, I think. SDNN, Standard Deviation of All Normal to Normal Intervals. Now we're talking about variability, just a little technical, okay? Heart rate variability is kind of the change in the distance between the beats of the heart, the peaks, you know? And so a standard deviation is how much do they deviate over, you know, from a perfect one, which would have zero deviation. You have a kind of overall standard deviation of all normal to normal intervals as measured in that 60 seconds. Your SDSD is the standard deviation of successive differences. It all comes into play with your parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems, all covered, mind you, that extensively in the article reference there from ORA. Oh, you say it, ORA. What is heart rate variability? I just want to show you some of the charts. There's the ECG one, which this is doing the RR interval. We're getting to that. And then there's the IBI. Okay, we talked about that. The Index of Biological Integrity, the spacing between the pulses of the green diode in there. And all of that stuff goes into all of this stuff. And we're going to break it all down for you. There it is. That's cute, isn't it? I'm hopefully going to have a link for you if you're interested in the ring, to pick up the ring with its little charger that, wow. But in the meantime, all of this data comes out of this little fitness band for about $20. You can do all sorts of stuff. The RMS, root mean square, of the successive differences, which is different than the standard deviation of the successive difference, used as a good snapshot of the autonomic nervous system's parasympathetic branch, and is the basis of the HRV score. When you understand the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems in the autonomic nervous system and how they work together to create heart rate variability, you'll come to the conclusion that they did, that higher HRV, or the greater variability between heartbeats, usually means that the body has a strong ability to tolerate stress or is strongly recovering from prior accumulated stress. At rest, a high HRV is generally favorable, and a low one is unfavorable. That's the opposite of what I've been taught and what I've been broadcasting when I talk about HRV. I kept saying you want to minimize the number of intervals between your heart rate, blah, blah, blah. That's not really accurate. And we really, really need to do an entire separate video to talk about this stuff, which we will be doing for those that are interested. To get through this review, though, I want to just quickly show you the rest of these things that are collected, including your breath cycle frequency at the very bottom. And that whole breathing thing that we just went through, you could, the only numbers really, heart rate, your beats per minute, and your breath are probably what you're going to be playing with if you're going to read this chart, unless you know more detail. There it is down at the bottom. I'm at 0.16 hertz breath, whatever that means. And I don't have a range for you on that. But we're learning. And to me, I don't know, this is like they've taken the data feed from the chip that's in here that does all that computation for those other values that you saw on the second screen, and they're just dumping the raw data out for you guys to look at, which I think is really cool. Most people won't use it. Here it is, your HRV calculated, and those other parameters, freeze and go back if you want to see it again. That's what your output is in terms of heart rate variability. Now, how does all of that fit in with the app? And this is where now we switch gears from here, which is a data collection node in a sense, to here, which is the representation of that data. Wait a minute. Let me show you from the beginning. It's HPlus. That's what we're downloading, the HPlus app. And check out what they just said. They updated on April 2nd, 2019. They've added HRV wave display for new products yet to come out and fixed a bug. They're always fixing bugs. But when you open it, you get into here. And this is the opening screen, your home, which shows you your step count for the day, right? Then you can slide over here. Wow, and this is your last night's sleep time stuff. I think awake is what they talk about being sober, and I guess they didn't track any of that, although I know I was up at least 3 times to the bathroom. I didn't capture that, but it did capture 3 hours and 3 hours of light and deep sleep spread this way. I can't do anything, I can't do anything with it there, but here it is in a bigger chart. No, you can't look at the specific times. Went to bed at 22:40, got up at 6:01. Deep sleep was short, long, and very short there. Anyway, you get data. These are the different days, okay, and this was last night, and that gets you to the main chart. That's here. Here is your continuous heart rate, right? This is minimum and maximum and average pulse, done with the green diode, because on the app I have turned on to do a continuous heart rate. Here's today so far. Here is blood pressure. And unfortunately, now we have a disconnect between the prototype and the app. It's not recording the blood pressure readings that I take. It's not transferring them to the app. Although the other stuff is live, when I'm doing the heart rate, you can actually see it changing. But I'm not getting blood pressure. This is delayed, and I'm not really sure what I'm looking at. It's yellow is HRV and green is heart. I think this is the heart wave thing that they're talking. I don't know. You have an RMSSD, you get the PNN20, and the LF over HF data, which you saw in the charts that I brought up here after we did the HRV, the ECG report for HRV, But that data isn't transferring yet either. So, wow, the future is bright. It's just a little dim right now. We got to turn the bulb on. Those are all the different categories that this app has available in the now. When you go into activity, if you run the activity stuff, running or cycling or whatever, no GPS here. I'm presuming that data will transfer, but I haven't done that. Calendar, if you did anything, I guess the days would show. Now we're to the band, and then you're to you, okay? And this is where you set up your own picture, your goals, and there's several goals. Look at this. You have your basic step count and sleep goal, but all these different activities, including for some devices, swimming, not on this one, although it is waterproof. I don't see swimming as an activity. But you got all that, if it has like GPS to be able to track it. Walking, running, each of these separate categories then are the the goals that you can set beyond just your pedometer step goal. But that's in here. It'll calculate your body mass index out of your personal data of age, gender, height, and weight, which is nice. And from that BMI and other data, you get your burning heart rate. And those are the calculations that you can use when you're working out. There's a firmware thing. And then this category, My Watch Faces, doesn't show up right away. You got to keep your phone and the app running, connected to the internet, and then eventually, this will show up, My Watch Faces. It shows a couple of them here. When you hit the arrow, whoops, that's my little slider for brightness. Sorry about that, and it just made it really bright, didn't it? Let's take it back down. My Watch Faces. You get these here. Now, where are the girls? Where are the static images of the planet with the time, and where's an analog watch face? I mean, it shows them here. Well, I got the question in to number 1. I don't have a response yet. This is where they should be. The advertising shows a lot of interesting watch faces beyond the stock ones that we're seeing here. Hopefully they'll come. Because they're in the app, and because they have to be downloaded, before they'll even show up in the app, it's possible that these are faces of the future and that they'll come in later. It's also possible maybe later you'll be able to add your own picture, because these look like they could be custom pictures. I like the fact that there's no time on them at all, and there's more pictures like this in the product literature, but I don't know if it's just advertising or not, but guys, don't get your heart up that you're going to see pictures other than your standard time kind. Takes a real long time to download these. It's kind of bright again. Let me turn the brightness down. And when you do download them, you can only download one at a time, and it replaces the other one. Lots of limitations. There's not a lot of memory on here. My particular favorite is this one because it has the heart rate on it. Some of them have step count and other things. Some of them are really tiny. I got big time and I got big heart rate, and that's all I need to look at on my watch. So when I press and hold and I switch, it switches over to that watch face. They're also in 24-hour mode. I'm having difficulty figuring how to switch it to the 12-hour mode. It's in the morning at 11:12, so it looks nice now. At 1 o'clock, it'll say 13 up there, just to let you know. Okay, that's this one. I know I jumped past device. Here, you can set it up to notify if you have an incoming call or not. You can change from imperial to metric. You can have the all-day heart rate, the continuous heart rate, or not. And you can have it so you twist your wrist to show the time, or turn that off at night. You have alarm clock, sedentary reminders, your screensaver time. And I try to set it for 30 minutes, but I'm not getting it to work. I think it's just defaults on this particular one to 5 seconds or less to save battery. But you supposedly can change that. You can set up your notifications. You can force sync right here, and it'll sync the data. You can unbind it, you can rebind it, you can clear it, you can do all these kind of things. Check the firmware update all the time, make sure there's nothing new, and you're in business. So, now that we're at the end of the review, and I do have the buying source I mentioned at the very beginning, I'll let you know you can pick this up from Banggood. They are distributing the No.1 DT58. This is something really fun to play with. It's got a really nice, big, bright screen. It's got this carbon fiber looking band to it. It's really, really sweet how you just pop the band off to charge it. I like that a lot. Well, they both came off. Okay. And like I said, with the breathing exercises, you can pop it in your pocket if you want to and just have it vibrate to inhale and exhale. With the electrodes on the back, I like to use this fleshy part of my hand on some of these things. I could actually do the ECG testing, if I'm in that mode, right here. I don't necessarily have to have it here. I think the results are very similar because you're just looking at the electrical connection through your heart. That's that one here, Hrv, which is doing the ECG. And when you're holding this thing, see, it's kicking the seconds out, so it's sensing that I'm touching it and everything is cool. Yep. Oh, it does the PPG too. That's where you're getting the 2 together in all of that data that you saw? All right. Anyway, there you go. The DT #1 DT58 sports fitness band with a twist, a really interesting twist, an HRV twist. And remember, we're going to come back and do a full talk about heart rate variability real soon, now that we've got all that incredible data that we can share with you guys. What does it all mean? How can you use it? And what's the end result when you know your heart rate variability? All right, thanks for watching. Have you subscribed? You're not going to see any of this stuff unless you subscribe, guys. And appreciate the thumbs up if you get information that's valuable out of these videos. I try to make them a little bit different than your standard ho-hum. This is all the specs, and this is what it basically does. We go deep, light, sideways, upside down, but it's fun. All right, we'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching.